Gillian Melcher from the National Review is here. She has a story about the closing of Mount Rushmore during the sequester. Okay, it closed, but it didn't have to close.
It didn't have to close. So I just got a bunch of records from the Department of Interior that show that the governor of South Dakota had this very clearly articulated plan to use state funds, private funds, keep it open. Department of Interior had this option, yet decided not to because it would be inappropriate, even as they were getting accounts of how badly this was hurting private business.
That's what they wanted.
They did.
The feds wanted it closed to inflict pain on businesses so they could say, oh, you cut government spending and look what happens. People are in pain. Meanwhile, the governor of South Dakota, he had the money. He could have kept it open.
Yeah,
they wouldn't let him.
He was ready to do it. Not only did he have the money, he had a plan for security, he had a plan for lighting, he had a plan to keep it staffed. I mean, this was a sophisticated plan. Department of Interior rebuffed him for 2 weeks, and I think they did it to make it hurt.
To make it hurt. In fact, it did not hurt. As I recall, the sequester cuts resulted in one permanent job being cut. And I think that was in the Department of Corrections at the Fed's Corrections. I think that's what happened.
That sounds familiar. I mean, I think what was so sad about looking at the documents I saw is hearing some of the stories that were coming into Department of Interior. There was one guy who wanted to visit Mount Rushmore. His wife had died a year earlier. This is the way that he was going to memorialize her. They get the account and they're worried about the spin. They're worried about how this is going to look for them and whether or not they can inflict pain. And I just think that's heartbreaking.
It's a disgrace.
It is.
To be perfectly blunt about it, that's a disgrace. That's playing with people's lives for political reasons, thinking you're going to win by it. I
agree.
Outrageous. Gillian, I'm sorry we're so short of time, but we really appreciate you being with us again today.
Thank you so much.
Good story. New at noon. Apple trying to lead the